Let's build a split panel cabinet door system. I'm going to use the countertop tool. I'm going to start drawing out my countertop. I'm actually going to specify something where it's polar is unchecked. I use tab input, so I'm going to do 24. Let's go 18 inches, and then I'm going to minus maybe a 2.5 inch profile. So 15.5. Can do the same thing here. 24 inches minus that 2.5 inch profile. There we go. So that gave me a countertop profile here. Let me just move it away from a wall that I had set up. And then the next thing I want to do is I'm going to add a molding to this, okay? But before I add a molding to this, let's draw that molding out. So let's use the Polyline tool to draw this out. I'm going to draw out a polyline, and same thing, tab input method, polar is unchecked. So X position in this case, 2.5 inch molding. Y position, let's just say that this is going to be a 3/4 inch molding. There we go. From here, I want to add a couple breaks. So I'm going to add a break here. It's going to be a stepped molding in this case. And then I can just drag this down. I could drag it down specifically or drag it down non-specifically and just set up these individual dimensions. So this is going to be 0.25 right here. Click on the next edge, 0.25 again. That should split it evenly. And then on this side, I'm going to make this stepping the same. So 0.25 here, and then 0.25 here. Alternatively, we could have moved these specifically by using that tab input. So here we've got our molding. As soon as we add this to the library, this becomes a molding. You can go ahead and name that molding. You can see it in the library over here on the right. There it is. I'm going to just change this to stepped molding. And then maybe I'll organize my library after I've named it. Now we've got that in the library, it's easy to come into the countertop, and we're going to do a couple things here. One is I've got a 1/4 inch first step there. So I'm going to make this panel just be a 1/4 inch. So set thickness from cabinet, I'm going to say this is a 1/4 inch panel. All right. And then set height from cabinet doesn't matter. Moldings, here's where I'm going to add that new molding. I've got to locate it in my library. Here we go, there's that step molding. And we're going to see in the preview window, if we expand this preview window, the molding's reversed. Let's reflect it horizontally. Now you can see that it's reflected. Notice that it's a bit offset from our panel itself. We're going to have to do a little bit of a vertical offset. That's to top. Instead, we could say to bottom. You can see that it's sitting proud of the panel itself. If you need this to be flush with the panel, you do a vertical offset of -1/4 inch in this case. Now it's a flush panel, okay? Now this is going to be the first cabinet door in my series. I'm going to make 2 different cabinet doors. So I'm going to use the convert selected to symbol and do a few things. This is going to be, symbol name is, well, in this case, we're just going to go stepped frame door. And we're going to make sure that symbol category is cabinet door drawer, and check add to library, check show advanced options. In the advanced options, we want to get into the 3D panel, and we need to rotate this symbol in the x-axis 90 degrees so that it's facing us. There we go. Now that we have that, make sure that your 2D block is auto-generating. Otherwise, it's going to show it laying down still. So it's nice to just check this box to always and generate that new block. Now in the advanced sizing, this is important because we want the stiles and rails to stay the same size as we apply it to different size cabinets. So we need to make sure we're checking a box for number 1, we've got one stretch plane in the 0 inch, which we show here on the side. That's our stretch plane there. And then we need one in the height as well. And we're going to split the height based on the height of the overall cabinet symbol. So let's copy this 26.5. Let's just paste it here, and we can just divide it by 2. There we go. There's our stretch plane. So this is our first symbol. Perfect. Now we've got that. That's in our cabinet here. In our library here. I'm going to open this object, get into the materials panel, and then in the materials panel, I want to select material, and I want to get into the plan materials, okay? And at the top of the plan materials, I want to select use default. Perfect. Next thing, same thing. Select materials. We want to use that default again. This makes it so that when we apply this to a cabinet door, let's just put a cabinet in here. Let's go ahead and pull a 3D view of this. Let's get our stepped frame door, apply it to this cabinet. And then if we open this up, well, it's not going to apply if we do glass doors in this case, right? We have no option for those glass doors in this case. But what we can do is come in here, pick up a glass material, such as the one from the windows here, change to component painter mode, and now we can paint glass on just that interior frame there. If instead you want a wireframe option here, you'd have to delete the back face of this symbol and reconvert it to a new symbol so that it was just a single plane panel in between here, okay? Now let's get to the next part of this, which is creating the split frame. So on this selected edge, we know this is selected edge because we've got my highlighted color here, which is set in preferences. I'm going to say that I've got remove molding from selected edge. That's what it does. Bam. So now we can convert this to a new symbol. That's a cabinet door. Get back to that 3D panel. Make sure that we're rotating in the X plane. Get into that 2D block, making sure that we're generating that block. Advanced sizing. We definitely want that width plane and that height plane. There's that 26.5 divided by 2. There we go. Now when we apply this panel here, you're going to see that it's a split panel. Now notice that it's flipped on the wrong side, so you're going to have to do something about that. In this case, it should be pretty easy. We can open this object up. We'll get back into that 3D panel. Let's rotate this about the Y twice. There, it's facing the right way. And notice in advanced sizing, our stretch planes still remain. So when we apply this, there we go. That's on the right side. So we can copy paste this, and here we are. We have a true split panel door. Hopefully that helps you out.